Well, long time no see, everybody. What's up, guys? Willie here. I'm making a video today that I thought, honestly, I would never be making, but I think it is literally the most important video I've ever made on this channel. It's kind of a sad topic, but I do think I need to talk about it because, unfortunately, it's really, really important. If you guys don't know, a lot of you guys know this on stream. I was playing about a couple of months ago, 3 months ago. I was really close to Challenger, and I almost had a near-death experience. And during that near-death experience, what I realized is that hell is real, and I am terrified to my core. It's forcing me to change very, very quickly my habits and who I am as a person. So if you want to hear a cool story, if you identify as a gamer kind of in our generation, whatever, please bend me an ear for the next 20, 30 minutes here. But first, check out the new animation I made. Rate it 1 to 10. Let me know what you think about it. I had fun making it.
I don't know who lolWillieP is, so I think Trick2GS will be doing something right, because, you know, I know who he is.
As we go into this topic, I want to be very transparent. I know religion and politics are the two no-fly zones, but this is something that really matters to me. So I would ask that I am literally just speaking from the heart in this video. If you disagree with what I have to say or disagree with what I have to believe, that's A-okay. You're entitled to your belief, but this is a personal testimony. It will include scientific evidence, a near-death experience testimony that I have, ridiculous patterns in the world that have kind of revealed themselves to me, and ultimately, I'm just here to tell you that the choice between choosing heaven and hell is real. You choose to listen or not. Your choice is yours, and mine is mine. Let's jump in. I saw this quote somewhere, and it really kind of gives a good context for what we're going to go into. Bear with me. We're going to back out in a second, but I want this to kind of frame our conversation as we go into this. If Satan could deceive 1/3 of the angels who actually knew God and lived in heaven, how many humans do you think he could lead astray? And I would like to ask if anybody out there has ever, seemed like the world is fake, a little bit evil. It seems a little simulation-y, like the way coincidences keep happening. If you ever had a vivid dream, it felt more than just a dream where you were actually there. Have you ever kind of thought about AI and been like, seems like kind of a trap. AI is just going to suck resources and control to the people who already have resources and control. If you ever felt extremely helpless in the grand scheme of things of the universe, these questions are going to be very important as we go into this conversation. Let's zoom out for a second. Who was I up until 2 months ago? Most of you guys know me as Willie. My name is William. I was a gamer growing up. I never really found the tangible world that interesting. I was always a gamer. I was into fantasy. I read a lot of like Greek mythology and stuff as a kid. I was a white middle-class American. I went to church growing up. My parents certainly took me there, but I didn't really buy into God. And we'll get into this in a bit. I remember I saw a George Carlin skit that said, why would a God that loves us forever and ever send us to burn in hell? That makes no sense. And that was my anthem up until about 2 months ago. I always believed in the possibility of God. It was a question mark. I never said, no, God isn't real. But it was up in the air for me. I was smart. I had a 36 on the ACT. My coworkers described me as quirky, self-driven, and capable. I knew I was destined for greatness, but ever since a kid, something happened, and I think this thing probably happened to a lot of us as gamers. School, money, and college. In 3rd grade, I remember it distinctly. The first time I ever felt judged was in 3rd grade, and people, because I was really, really smart as a kid, and I used to love to talk and learn, somebody called me a know-it-all, and that shaped a lot of my identity going through middle school, at least. Most of us love learning things that we're interested in, so why are we being gate-kept behind other people's judgment? And school literally is the embodiment of that. All through high school, conditioning was going on to kind of make me more of like a money-driven producing member of society. In college, you get to college, you've got the hookup culture, the drugs, social media, video games, you parties, late nights, distractions. And then when you graduate college, you're kind of spit out in the world. And that's that. Go find a job, make a bunch of money, get a house, get married at some point, and that's that. That's life, right? And when I was growing up, I don't know if you guys ever feel this way, or some of you probably feel this right now, but churches kind of suck in 2025. I don't think the churches do a good job of showing what Christianity and religion is actually about. It's kind of a show-face culture, and it's really not talking about the things that I've kind of discovered in the last couple months here that people have been talking about for thousands of years. I was also kind of subtly taught by society that religion and being rich don't go hand in hand. Not that being rich is the goal, but like I always thought that religious people had a list of rules and they were going to be miserable their whole life, and that's kind of how I was conditioned. As I went through college, I was a Vanderbilt graduate in 2021. I started streaming during college, as a lot of you guys know. I did this mainly out of ego, honestly, and I did it for money, and I wanted a car. I still got a Ferrari thing behind me. And then I went into investment banking, but money was still the driver, so I might as well make a lot of money, right? And then I realized it was a very dehumanizing, like your bosses get to say whatever they want to you and you have to do what they want. And I never liked that. So then I went into insurance sales because I still wanted money, but the bank was dehumanizing. And then I realized insurance is just an MLM scheme. Pretty much all of them are. Even the ones that don't claim to be LMMs, the entire industry is a pyramid. I started looking around and realized that my life really didn't have much satisfaction. It was really, I don't really know how to say it. Everything felt like it was a pyramid. You go up, the people at the top seem like they're having a good time. I got to wait 20 years to get there. And I found that the danger of this life truly revolves around one core belief. We don't necessarily know what happens in the afterlife, so we might as well live it up in the world. Let's move it up. And I now know this is truly the unwinding of the human soul. Again, this lifestyle and mindset nearly sent me to hell for all of eternity. I truly believe it. Let's get into the near-death experience here. So I returned to streaming. I graduated college, went into banking, insurance sales, all this and that. I came back in 2024, okay? So 2024 in June, I started streaming again. And about the last 15 months, I've been working like 90 hours a week. Not these last 2 months because I've taken a step back, as you guys know. But I was playing video games, chasing fame, aspiring for money. It was all this mindset of I'm going to work really hard to get money to buy myself back time to then retire. Life's good. And then I'll just build the dream house that I want, right? That to me was 100% my focus. I was honestly drinking or smoking something every single day because the lifestyle was not very fulfilling. When you chase these non-fulfilling things, you're going to have a non-fulfilling life. And surprising nobody, I had the first real heart attack I think I've ever experienced. It was right as I was about to get to Challenger. And so I think this was not only a physical heart attack, but a spiritual, because I think this was in many ways one of those crossroads in life where I got to decide, do I keep going down one path or do I get a second chance here? As I was dying, if you guys have never had a heart attack, your heart just starts beating really fast. You start sweating too. Like sweat starts pouring out of your body. It is really, really scary. And then all of a sudden you get this loud ringing in your ears. And then I had to lay down on the floor. As I was laying on the floor, I don't know how long it was. I estimate 2 minutes. I can't give you an accurate time span. I think for a period of 2 minutes, my spirit left my body. I can't explain it, but I was not inside my body. I was sinking into the earth. And the thing that I heard that terrified me was bugs. Bugs louder, so loud in my cranium. And that combined with something else that I don't think I can do it justice with words. It was a feeling of dread. It was like, it was just negative energy of like, I am about to get stuck somewhere forever. Like I knew it was hell. I knew it was hell. This is one of those things that I know you're going to say, Willie, I don't believe you. It's my personal testimony. You can't ever take it away. Literally, I knew in my heart of hearts I was going to hell. I asked Jesus for help. I was dying. I could feel these bugs. I was sinking. This was going on for a minute or two. And I said, Jesus, please help me. Like clockwork. Stopped immediately. I returned to my body. Ringing stopped. I could still hear the bugs. And it was freaky because they were outside chirping. But it was an instant change. I knew, though, that because of the feeling of dread, I was going in the complete wrong direction in my life. Almost immediately, I stopped streaming. I literally lost all my LP on the Challenger climb. My heart wasn't in it. I was really, really scared. And I started going down a lot of creativity. I've been learning animation, and I've been really thinking about what is going on with this life. Why am I here? Why are we all here? What have I been missing? And the big question that I think I landed on is, what if it's actually real? And this is a very scary thought. You can burn in hell for eternity if you get this wrong. That's a thought none of us want to actually think about. Hell's not real. I am telling you, my body left my soul and I could feel myself my soul left my body and I could feel myself going down to hell. That is something that changed me for life, and I feel like I am obligated to tell you about my experience because it's something some people need to hear. right? So quick recap. I was a gamer growing up, never had issues like in society or whatever. I felt slightly alone all my life. Vanity and money didn't really bite me until I got to freshman year of college. Ever since college, I've been chasing money, the American dream, this, that, up, down, fame. I had a near-death experience. I called out on Jesus, and my body got returned immediately. It was the craziest thing I've ever had, right? So then I started looking at the world through the lens of evil versus good. Okay, so Jesus supposedly saved me. I don't know what the deal is with that. Let me take a look here. Did you know that Christian Bale thanked Satan at the Golden Globes?
Thank you to that geezer over there, Adam. He said, I've got to find somebody who can be absolutely charisma-free and
Sorry, I clicked off.
reviled by everybody, so he went, that's got to be Bale. Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
You think he's kidding. You think he's kidding because there's so much more. Did you know that arguably the famous rapper of my generation is probably Travis Scott? There may be others, but Travis, Drake, I don't really know. Travis has literally demonic imagery all over what he does. This is supposedly this t-shirt he wore at that concert where those people died. This looks like a portal to hell. This is an old ancient picture from like the 16th century and it's called the Gates of Hell. Looks very similar to the mouth that you walked through to get into Astroworld. The true dystopia is here. There's eyeballs on hands, which is a demon. We'll get into this in a bit. Triangles are really associated with Satan. I'm just going to let this guy talk. Listen for yourself.
Wait, you had an encounter with the devil?
Yeah, I got booked for a photo shoot. They took me all the way up this mountain. I was on top of the mountain. We finished the photo shoot. They have OD cars. Like, they got a 3-seater McLaren. They got a Ferrari. And I'm asking them, like, how y'all get all this money? They're like, we do demonic rituals. I'm laughing. No, you don't, bro. I'm like, how you get this money? Don't put me on. I'm trying to get like y'all. I'm like, nah, we do demonic rituals. I say, so what type of demonic ritual? He say, the Illuminati never talked to you. I'm laughing. I'm still laughing at him. Why y'all playing with me? How y'all getting this money? They're like, no, for real. Leonardo DiCaprio do all the initiation. I'm like, what? I'm like, who is that? What is you talking about, gang? He giving me a list of people who all did. I'm gonna keep it PG-13. He was basically saying, either you let them peg you or you do oral and you'll get whatever you want. Tell them what you want. If you want to be the next big actress, next big whoever, I can take you to somebody. And all you gotta let them do is do what they want to do to you just for a night. That's what he was telling me. I'm like, hell no, I'm playing. So I'm still not trying to believe this. Now, while they doing all this, I'm trying to call my Uber. We on top of the mountain though. I don't got no service. The people who booked me left. After they leave, I'm in the car with the other dude that they called up to have a photo shoot with me. I get in the car with him in the 3-seater McLaren. See, on the way up, we go all the way up in the swivel, like all the way around the mountain.
Yeah.
On the way down, we take a right. So he not going the same way that we came up. I'm like, what the hell? So then that's what I try. I'm like, take me to go get some McDonald's, gang. He said, we not gonna take you get no McDonald's. We spent all this money to get you up here. This face change, gang. In front of me. You see Venom? Kind of like that. His face is probably about this wide. Like, face change. I'm like, what the? Like, it's probably about like right here. Like, it threw me all the way off. I didn't know how to get out the car. I would have been got out the car. We in the 3-seater McLaren, so it's like a button you gotta push to get up out of there.
Gotcha.
Now he backing into somebody's driveway. He smack a mailbox. Now he hit the button and he get up out of there. I see the button. I'm getting up out of there too. I hit the button. Guess what? It's a mailman come out of nowhere. I run up to him. I'm like, hey bro, we getting back your truck. He looking at me like, oh yeah, no. I look at him. I'm like, bro, just let me get in the back of your truck, bro. Like, please just take me down to the bottom. Please just take me down to the bottom. It was God. He took me down to the bottom. And I called an Uber and I just left. And the people on camera, you ain't got to believe me. I don't care. I'm not lying. I really saw this.
I believe it.
That's what.
As I keep going down this path of myself, you cannot take away personal testimony. I know people are going to say I'm making my stuff up. I believe this guy. I believe, again, you look at scripture, the devil lives on a mountain, offers people.
But like made me know that
it's so scary. And then there's also others that almost died. If you go to YouTube, I would encourage you guys, look up near-death experience. Did you know that thousands of people have supposedly died for like 5 seconds, seen hell, and they've been diagnosed with PTSD after, and they have literally U-turned their life. Many claim to have seen Jesus in dreams. Miracles and coincidences certainly happen every single day, and I can 100% confirm, if you need the confirmation, listen, your spirit leaves your body when you die. We are not physical creatures. This is like a simulation of a physical creature. We are not meant to be here. I can 100% confirm that. At this point, because of these things that I've started seeing, looking at the world through good versus evil, my near-death experience, I'm kind of starting to get terrified. That voice in the back of my head that says heaven and hell isn't real, it's kind of like whatever. Oh boy, I've been misleading myself for years. That's kind of what I'm starting to think about. And so I took a lot of philosophy in college, matrix simulation theory. You know, it started with Rene Descartes. I think, therefore I am, right? I've made videos on this, but essentially we've been talking about the fact that we could be in a simulation for hundreds of years. And the issue with the matrix, so I was like, okay, so we're living in a world where we're getting impacted by all these different forces. God could exist. But what if Satan's the good one, right? Like, how do we trust the word of God was one question I had. And then the other thing I was like is, if I'm a spiritual being inside a physical body, how do I actually gain autonomy? Like, is like am I being farmed, or like, what's going on here? The Matrix, the concept, the simulation, I started to do some deeper diving on like the you know, you're getting the idea. If you've never seen the movie, you're just getting farmed by machines, right? So there's an illusion and this and that, right? Most of us have seen it. The Matrix and the premise of the Matrix is still rooted in anti-religious doctrine, because essentially it says humans created robots, which then stopped us from growing, and it was all us all along creating. That was us, and it's still a very egotistical view of the world. The Matrix premise assumes that we are the root of the existence and that we created the robots and then they stopped us. We control our destiny, but that's not really what is going on with Christianity and simulation theory. Satan in the Bible is described as the king of deception and lies. We're going to go down the religious path in a little bit, but just as we go through this and kind of where I've been looking at and coming to my own conclusions, is that Satan, his job is to put a matrix in front of us. He wants us to get completely distracted from the fact that God is real. That is the entire purpose of why he exists. And the Bible states, while evil people and imposters will go on from bad to worse, deceiving and being deceived, the deception is only going to get worse as time goes on. We're going to completely forget who we are thousands of years down the pipe. And the Matrix, as far as I'm concerned, still could be real. There's a whole Saturn cube theory where like it's pumping a matrix at us. I don't really know. But what I do know is that the Bible describes Satan as a perfect being that was created by God, and it essentially is now converted entirely 100% of its focus on destroying what God likes, which is us. Satan is allowed, per the Bible, to have complete dominion over earth during this era. So if he wanted to pump out a simulation like a matrix, he could. God has given him the ability to. God is kind of letting the rest of the universe see that this form of ruling is never going to be actually sustainable in the long haul. And so it's a giant cosmic battle between good versus evil. Okay, so that's the theory. That's where we're going. That's where the car is driving. Now that I've planted that seed, let's zoom back out. So we talked about the Matrix theory. What if everything we're seeing is fake? Let's go through some crazy coincidences that I truly think all of you guys need to take a second to think about for yourself. I would actually recommend for this first bullet point, I made a video on this channel, I think, where if you go check it out about Oceangate. But did you remember like the Oceangate thing where these billionaires, you know, got inside this submarine and exploded? The fatal dive that caused this thing to explode was Dive 88. Check out this coincidence. Lord, you're the God who saves me day and night. I cry out to you. May my prayer come before you. Turn your ear to my cry. Remembering, Dive 88 is the one that exploded. I am overwhelmed with troubles, and my life draws near to death. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like one without strength. I am set apart with the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave. You remember no more, who are cut off from your care. You have put me in the lowest pit, the bottom of the ocean, in the darkest depths. Your wrath lies heavily on me. You have overwhelmed me with all your waves. You have taken me from my closest friends and have made me repulsive to them. His friends and family can't talk about, you know, the guy who ran the Oceangate operation. I'm confined and cannot escape grief. My eyes are dim with grief. I call to you, Lord, every day. I spread out my hands here. Do you show your wonders today? Do their spirits rise up in prayer? Your love declared in the grave, your faithfulness in destruction, are your wonders known in the place of darkness, or your righteous deeds in the land of oblivion? I cry to you, help, Lord, in the morning. My prayer comes before you. Why, Lord, do you reject me and hide your face from me? From my youth I have been suffered and been close to death. I interpret this as Stockton Rush had a very high risk appetite. I've borne your terrors and am in despair. Your wrath has swept over me. Your terrors have destroyed me. All day long they surround me like a flood. They have completely engulfed me. You have taken me from my friend and neighbor. Darkness is my closest friend. Can we see how a submarine that exploded on Dive 88 trying to go down to the Titanic, which was a testament to human ego to begin with, Do we see how this overlines? Great. Let's take another look at this. Did you know in The Matrix there is actually a September 11th, 2001 reference on Neo's passport in one of the opening scenes? He's getting interrogated. It briefly flashes for a brief second. But there's a coincidence. This movie was made before 9/11. It's not possible. They say it's a coincidence, but The Matrix is a movie about how there are no coincidences because everything is simulated. Why is there a coincidence in a movie about how there are no coincidences? Food for thought. Did you know black cubes are everywhere? Black cubes are in all financial centers around the world. Supposedly, Saturn has a black cube that's causing like all the... It's a crazy conspiracy. But what is true, and if we are going to go down a Christianity path, Christianity has promised that Jesus will save the city of Jerusalem. It's not... Again, this is not about getting into other religions, and it's not here to spread hate, but it's the fact that Jesus said, and we'll get into this in a bit, he is the only God out there. The fact that a black cube is in the center of Jerusalem and getting swarmed like a storm, similar to how Saturn gets swarmed like a storm, is very interesting. Black cubes are also a symbolism of kind of putting things in boxes. They're optical illusions. You don't, let me see if I can get a better picture here, but if you look at a proper like silhouette of a cube, you really don't know which one you're looking at. So look at this picture here. Which side is facing you? You can look at this all day. You won't really know, right? It's an optical illusion. Further, did you know that our mathematical system is in what people call base 10? We got 10 fingers, count to 10, then you go to 11, and usually things reset, whatever, right? Why are we not in base 3, 6, 9, or 12? Because God, the Holy Trinity, constantly talks about 3, 6, 9, 12 in the Bible, and nature constantly has these repeating fractals in orders of 3. It's almost like our entire mathematical system is A, designed to keep us from discovering new technologies, and B, it's kind of antithetical to the way our world's built. It also forces us to kind of subconsciously identify 1 + 1 = 2. Me plus you equals 2. We're all individuals. We're not tied to something stronger. I bet you've never thought about it through that lens. Further, competition is at the core of everything we know about society. You got to work harder, be better. That does not imply equality. We're all born as human beings with thoughts and feelings, and your thoughts and feelings are the most unique things you have. Why are we pitting our thoughts and feelings against each other to say, my thoughts and feelings are better than you, so I deserve better in this world? Competition, sports, all of it, naturally from the very first time you're introduced into this society, starts wiring you to not look at humans as actual part of something bigger. Those that get mega rich tend to be awful people. I'm going to be honest. Usually if you look at the billionaires of the world, they're either destroying the planet or abusing or taking advantage of a lot of people to get themselves rich. Actual creativity gets abused in every industry. I'll tell you, man, I just spent the last 15 months streaming. I came up with some of the best builds for the character I play, Udyr, and I had every content creator under the sun steal my builds from me. It's part of the reason why I'm kind of walking away from it, is because my creativity gets taken advantage of in these hierarchical systems. Almost all human stories are about evil versus good. Have you ever thought about that? Think about all the childhood stories you think about. Evil versus good. Evil versus good. That's all it is. So this begs the question. All right, so we got this Matrix potentially going on. We got all these things going on. Why are we the test subjects? If God loves us, why in the heck is he allowing this evil force to just like mess with us all day? George Carlin, I mentioned this earlier, he has a comedy skit. It's pretty funny if you want to watch it, but essentially he says, why would a God that loves you forever and ever, and he wants everything to do with you, and you're creative, you're beautiful, and I want to know all about you, but I'm also going to send you to hell to burn forever? That makes no sense, right? It's because God never wanted humans to go down this path. We were supposed to be in a utopian society. Have you ever dreamed or thought of what it would look like if all humans actually just started helping each other instead of hurting each other? And it seems like we're always at odds. That's why. It's because we are naturally meant to help each other, and the hardest working man isn't going to be the richest man in America or in anywhere in the world right now, because it's not fair. Satan, in his wrath, is literally the source of all the misery in this world. Satan came to humans to destroy us. God said, I still want humans to exist, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a little test bubble called Earth. You're going to have a fair swing to try and corrupt them. I'm going to be able to influence them too, but silently in the background. If you come up with a better world than me, we'll let them see. And that's kind of what's happening. The money, the power, the hierarchy, the individualism, the murdering, lying, stealing, lusting, it is all rooted in the I could potentially be better than another human prideful mindset that Satan introduced to the cosmos. In Genesis, God even acknowledges that humans, after Satan kind of got introduced to the world, were now born with evil hearts. And here's the crazy part. You say, Willie, this sounds great and all. This is biblical text. This is a lot of your subjective opinion. What if I were to tell you the American CIA did a project for 20 years, not 2 years, not 5 years, not 10 years. There was a project called Stargate. Go Google this. It ran for 20 years, and they said it was a failure. But why would they run a failed program for 20 years? What they were trying to do is astrally project human consciousness into other locations. A lot of witchcraft and stuff does this, but the CIA was doing this to test like locations of Cold War bomb sites, whether or not they could read other humans' minds, stuff like this. 25% of all of these tests were successful, supposedly. One test subject was Earth itself. But the catch was, of course, when you're astrally projecting, the CIA wouldn't tell these test subjects what they were studying. They would say, imagine a sphere of water or something like that, and that's the prompt, and then off they go, right? And the idea is they try and project themselves and think about these things. There's a link in the description I'm going to make sure to leave. There's a 40-minute video. If you guys want to get freaked out, go find what the CIA found on these results. Number one, the CIA found that we are being harvested for our negative energy by a parasitic race. There is a parasitic race that is literally preventing us from evolving, and we cannot evolve naturally. When we die, what happens is we release a ton of energy when our spirit leaves our body. There is a net surrounding all of Earth that catches this energy and somehow funnels it in to where these alien life forms, it's kind of like honey, where they come and retrieve the honey from the honey hive, right? Ironically enough, though, this parasitic race, there's something they cannot do. They cannot come up with original thoughts. They lack creativity, so they use us to spread their evil messages. They plant little seeds to get us to do what they want. Human souls after death go to this soul factory. So we die, we spit out a ridiculous amount of energy that gets caught in this net. They come harvest that net. Our souls get sent to a soul factory where we are literally tortured for energy. And eventually, supposedly, we get reincarnated, or the souls get put back in a new body and something like that. The CIA has confirmed that other alien life forms have also encountered this parasite race that is farming on us, but they cannot interfere. There's something that's preventing them from interfering with our current state of what's happening. We have a truce with the parasitic race where they completely conquered us. We cannot exist without them, but the parasites get to get creative energy, which they need in order to survive. And according to the CI project that I mentioned, the Matrix could be exactly what's going on. In the same video talking about this CIA Stargaze program, they talk about the fact that this parasitic life form showed up to our galaxy, nearly destroyed us, a truce was set up. There are stations that these parasitic life forms have. So essentially, they're not immune to time. They will eventually die if they step outside these certain stations they've set up. There are stations in every galaxy where supposedly they can bend time to where they never age. But when they step out of these stations, they start aging. So eventually they will expire. But the idea is what they're doing is they're living inside these stations and using signals to control us and all sorts of things. They have already conquered a large portion of the galaxy already, and other aliens, again, exist, but they just can't really interfere with us. I mean, this is really, really spooky, but if we start thinking about, all right, is this actually going on? Let's take a look at the history of our cosmos. Doesn't the asteroid belt look like a destroyed planet? Doesn't it look like there should be a planet right here? And doesn't Mars look really small for the other planets that are out here, including Earth? The theory is there was an asteroid belt and we had a home planet. Humans literally existed before Satan, and this is said in the Bible or whatever. Satan was cast out and then humans were made. Supposedly, we lived on this planet. Satan came and destroyed us. Mars was also inhabited by humans. That's why we see human faces in the Cydonia region of Mars. Go look this up. You can also see other forms of life all over Mars. It's because that was our moon originally, but Satan destroyed it. So a truce was made between God and Satan saying, okay, listen, you're going to destroy the things I love, humans. Understood. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a little 100-year play test. They're going to drive these little 100-year cars called their physical bodies, and you will be able to tempt them however much you want with your earthly power and possessions. I know that my people will always call back to me because this world will not satisfy them. The people that know me and know what good is and what the righteous thing is will know that this life will never satisfy somebody that is actually trying to be a good human being. Tying it to religion, the Bible again said that Satan was cast out of heaven alongside a third of the rebel angels, before humankind was created. It's really hard to imagine that there's like a God or an entity out there that is 100% good. Satan introduced evil into the cosmos. God was just kind of like this, I want everybody to create, coexist, utopia society type creator. He didn't want us to murder, steal, do all these things that we are. Satan is a perfect being that was created from God, but he eventually wanted to be like God. He wanted to be revered like that. And God cast him out because God is God and he's the creator of everything, right? Mankind, said in the Bible, was in the image of God. In other words, we have creativity. I think it's something that humans have that maybe other aliens don't have. We're allowed to create. Think about dinosaurs. Do you think they were painting pictures and stuff? No. I don't think dinosaurs were doing that. I think creativity is literally the thing that humans can. We're so imaginative and creative when we allow ourselves to be. The Excel spreadsheets, the business, the jobs, the careers, they literally drain you of your creativity. Everybody above you in the hierarchy is trying to steal your creativity in any industry that you go in. And my personal theory, I won't know, praise be to he because he knows, but my theory is that the Bible actually started after humankind was originally destroyed. God remade humankind, Adam and Eve. That's why it sounds like such an artificial story, is because, he literally just made two humans and said, go at it. Because the original human population got destroyed. And it sounds truly like Earth is kind of a truce between God and Satan to playtest our free will. Satan, of course, interfered at some point with the Garden of Eden, introduced sin into the world, and here we go off to the race. Let's take a look at these two symbols. Most of us know this is a circle and a triangle. Which one feels better to you, and which one feels not better to you? I'm going to leave it at that. Just think about it, come to your own conclusion. Let's say they're both the same surface area. So in terms of like value or whatever, they're the exact same. They may not be, whatever, but which of these seems better? And as you go through life, you're going to realize you are choosing a circle or a triangle in every aspect of your life. Circle represents equality. What begins must end. We must accept our death. Hospitals and drugs and religions aren't going to save us. And no, we didn't create ourselves. No, we don't have the authority and the power. It represents wholeness and unity. When you get married, you have a ring because it symbolizes the eternity. It represents utopia for a lot of people. Atoms, water are all made of spheres. The planets are made of spheres. There is equal access to everywhere in the sphere as long as you are inside of it. Triangles represent the other. They represent hierarchy. The bottom supports the top. As long as the bottom exists, the top is fine. Trickle-down economics. The people at the top or the things at the top are naturally going to have control and power. Once you move up in a triangle, there's no sharing at the next level down, because once you move up, there's no reason to go down. The top is supported by the bottom, and that's that. That is essentially what is going on in our life. There are two perfect beings, and they are testing the universe on good versus evil. Good does not have to rush the process, unlike evil. Do you notice how our attention spans keep getting shorter and shorter? Humans used to be able to live in the Bible hundreds of years. Now we only live 60 to 70. We have multiple divorces, multiple children, do whatever you want in this lifetime. It's like literally sprinting a race in this life. Get a job, get a degree, go get it. You have no time to stop and think about these things. That's why it feels like this life is so rushed at times. God is going to win eventually. Jesus is, and this is if anybody's like, how is God Jesus, God? I've never understood this. I didn't understand this for a long time. Jesus is completely identical in character to God, but in human form. Does that make sense? Jesus is a separate identity, but 100% pure, and he came back to earth to show us as humans what we could have lived like. He was a perfect human. He never, even when they were dragging up to the cross and killing him, raised a fist to hit anybody, because that's what we should have been like. Jesus also came back for a very specific reason. He said, I am the truth. God is the truth. There are way too many other religions on earth. Watch me do these miracles. Watch me die for you. Watch me get resurrected and perform these insane things. And I am telling you, the only way to heaven is if you accept me into your heart. There's no other religion on earth that will get you there. I am literally the key. And someone said this analogy. It's like essentially saying that, well, what do you mean the other religions? Let me give you this analogy. You go, let's say you want to come to my house and I tell you, you got to drive straight, take a left to the stop sign, go up over the hill, and then bend around the corner and you'll get there. Let's say you do exactly that, but when you get to the last corner, you say, I'm going to take a left because I got 90% of it right, but I think these other gods are how I get there. Jesus is saying you will burn straight in hell for that, because it is literally false prophets distracting you from the truth. Satan is the lord of lies and deceit, and he will constantly come up with fake religions to distract you from the real truth. That to me makes a lot of sense, frankly. How this cycle ends is Satan's going to eventually break his word. Right now, I think God and Satan are not allowed to directly interfere and like show themselves and do amazing, wonderful things. We have to come to our own conclusions. I think truly at some point, Satan is going to realize that Christianity will never be snuffed out. So he's going to break the truce and directly interfere and kill Christians. At which point, Jesus is going to return, chain Satan in hell for 1,000 years, and then Satan is eventually going to be chained for eternity. After supposedly 1,000 years, Satan's going to get released. He's going to get one final swing to unleash his might on us, and it's not going to work because God created everything. Right now, our job as little petty humans in this giant cosmic battle of good versus evil, all we have to do is look at all of this deception around us. Money, careers, college, society, even churches are fake these days. The Roman Catholic Church is spreading more hate and judgment than anything the original Bible ever preached. Our job, essentially, is to accept Jesus into our heart and see through all this deception. And frankly, I don't know about you, but this is the only truth I've ever been told that makes sense to why this world is going on. Let's zoom back out to the Matrix. Most people know this, but there's a lot of Christian imagery in the Matrix. Let's take a look at that outside of the fact that there was the passport in it, which was a very clear coincidence. When Neo ends up cracking the Matrix and freeing everybody from the parasites, this is what he looks like. It's a cross with angelic wings. This guy looks like Satan. It's wrath and anger. And how, if you remember the Matrix trilogy, those that haven't seen it, there's a character in it called the Oracle. The Oracle represents free will. If you remember, Agent Smith kills free will. And that's what allows Neo to go into the entire cycle. That is how it ends. There's also a character in the Matrix called the Architect that explains, yeah, you're in a simulation. We've run many versions of human civilization before. Your suffering is how you define your existence. That sounds a little too real, doesn't it? Christian imagery is also everywhere. Think about, I was fantasy, right? So think about the Lord of the Rings. You discover a ring within your home, and then you have to go back to the place it was originally created and throw it in the fire and say no more. And there is a deceiving king who, to quote Gandalf, he does not share power. He corrupts with fallen angels. He takes kings and uses them for their power and ability, just like a triangle. There is an all-seeing eye. Satan is described as an all-seeing eye. And Frodo is tasked to not forget his humanity while holding this thing and bring it and cast it into fire or doom. Take a look at Star Wars. Star Wars is about the battle between rebels and the Empire. The Empire is ruled by this guy named the Emperor, surrounded by red-cloaked figures with red eyes. Kind of looks like the devil. Strange, huh? And it's about a father and a son and a Holy Spirit, the Force, overthrowing evil because evil was about to kill the son and break the truce. Let's think about modern events. Again, this is not about politics. This is just based off, if we're going to buy into this theory, why is the America not stepping in and stopping the genocide that's going on in Israel and Gaza? Because Israel, Jewish nation, would control Jerusalem, which was promised to Jesus. And in Jerusalem, they're going to have that black cube that they're spinning around like Saturn. It's almost like they're worshiping Satan as a false religion. And again, a black cube represents control. Now let's think about how science is taught. Let's go back to your elementary school days, and let's think about how you and me both were programmed, because this is a big wake-up I've had. Maybe I'll wake up some of you guys. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. You remember that little phrase? If you're Satan, that's really true. He can't create matter or destroy it. If you're God, we're taught from page 1 of the Bible, God said, let there be light. He can create whatever he wants. That is literally not true. Are we alone in the universe? Seems to be hitting the news headlines every other week right now. Nope. Satan is literally an alien that came to us and is a parasite farming us. No, we are not alone, never have been. Human civilization started 12,000 years ago. Go look up the Mount Baigong pipes. These things are already debunked by the scientific community, but they're 150,000 years old. And if you look at them, they do not look like tree roots, which is the common explanation. These are pipes that are 150,000 years old. What gives? Pyramids were built by human slaves. All right, this is real tinfoil hats conspiracy, but seriously, if you look at how those things were built, go down that rabbit hole, pyramids were not possible for 12,000 years ago. Nope, not possible. We have been lied to about our human civilization. We are not in biblical times and miracles do not happen. That's another one I've heard growing up. They happen every day. I've seen insane coincidences. I've seen literally people survive car crashes they shouldn't. It happens all the time. I don't understand why we keep saying that miracles don't happen. Let's go even further. Let's think about certain things in the Bible you're not supposed to do that society has quietly seeped into your brain that you're now doing. Be of a sober mind. Well, we drink coffee, alcohol, and for me, weed is on every single corner I'm at. It seems like you can't escape not being sober in our society. For a man to lie with another man is an abomination. All right, again, this is really controversial. I'm not attacking anybody out there that's homosexual. I'm just saying the Bible says this. And if you believe in this, that God is real and there is a battle between good and evil going on, I'm like you. My entire life, I've been like, I don't care. Let people choose what they want. But the Bible literally says, do not do this. And did you know that most LGBTQ things are sponsored by the Church of Satan? You don't believe me? Go Google this. This is not, again, I'm not trying to spread hate. That's not the point of this. It's just the Bible says this, and we are programmed to think the opposite. The love of money is the root of all evil. That's the Bible. And it's not about money, which I misunderstood as a kid. It's about putting money before God, because that allows you to start getting in this transactional mindset with other humans, and then Satan, it's a door to Satan, and he'll control you, right? I was born in America. Money is the only thing we care about over here. Sorry, I don't, it's the only thing from my childhood I remember constantly getting talked about. My parents obviously were not talking about it all the time, but you just have this constant thought of money in your brain going up in America. This is also said in the Bible. Remember those who are in prison as though you were in prison with them. In America, we have the highest incarceration rate in the world, and it's shameful to go to prison. It is literally programming society to go against the Bible. Do we all see this? These are things in the Bible that we do. We do these all day, every day. And then this blew my mind. You're going to say, Willie, I don't know about all this. This is really hateful. You're saying other religions aren't right. You're saying that I can't do what I want with my life. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we were all literally created out of nowhere by something that is so much more powerful than us. Who are we to disobey? Check out this footage from 2012. Live stream of NASA. Do you see this thing right here? Are you starting to think that maybe these parasites farming energy off of us is real? Do we see this? This video, this thing is literally siphoning energy from the sun. Here's another picture caught above the sun of a triangle object. These are out there. Have you been listening, or have you been ignoring these all your life as crazy conspiracy theories? Maybe society has programmed you to think that way, that these are conspiracy theories. It's scary. I would encourage anybody at this point. I don't want to go down the preach. This is what you should think. The point of this life is we all have free will, and we all get to choose whether or not to come back to God. I would say anybody that's a skeptic, I was a skeptic for a long time. Start with the Y-Files on YouTube. It's a great YouTube channel. It's real life sci-fi mysteries, and it's going to get those clocks turning. You're going to get those cogs turning, and you're going to say, wait a second, something is not going on with our world. There's a lot of evidence saying funky things are going on. I would say stop looking at the world through countries, identities, and physical traits. We are literally in a battle against good versus evil. Your neighbor, if you're mad at them, it don't matter. He's going to hell. Be nice to him. Be really nice to him and try and show him the way. That's why Christians, and many times, come across too pushy. But like, when you have these experiences, it's really scary. Go down some of these conspiracy rabbit holes on the internet. Most of these barred topics, aliens, cover-ups, and paranormal activity, are actually linked back to religion and socially banned for a reason. Demons exist. Angels exist. We can't see them. So when we talk about paranormal activity, it's a barred topic. You're considered loony if you talk about it because it links back to religion. That's why. The other thing I'll say is I truly think I know God is real. I'm 100% sold on that. If you start asking God to see a sign, just open your heart a little bit and say, God, I'm really at crossroads and I don't know, and just keep asking for a sign. You're going to get something that will literally rattle you to your core. You will understand. I had my experience. It's really the only thing that I can preach from. I am telling you, please, 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 do not close your off to this. My final 2 cents, I want to close with this because I'd never understood this dream. When I was in 2020, this was like about when I was graduating college, going into my first job, I had the most vivid dream of my life. Okay. This wasn't a dream. I was there. I could feel these things inside the dream. My car crashed in the middle of a bridge on a foggy night far away from home. I was like, I'm 3-4 hours away from home. I didn't have any way to get home. I knew I was going to be stuck there all night in my car. I was completely lost and alone. Out of the fog walks two men. There was a man in a mechanic suit. He had like a toolbox. And then there was an old bearded man. And they were chatting with each other. Didn't know who they were. Wouldn't look at me. Didn't know who they were. They just kept chatting. And they just walked up and started fixing my car. Growing up, I had so many you guys might remember this from the stream, but I used to drive a Ford Explorer, and that thing broke down every 6 months. I always had car issues growing up. And seeing two strangers come out and fix my car, I got on my knees and started crying in the dream. I literally just was overwhelmed with gratitude. I couldn't pay them. I kept trying to talk to them. They wouldn't listen to me. They were just fixing it for me. It was like the nicest thing I'd ever seen. And while I was sitting there crying, I just remember, I just get these visions. Just all my friends and family from my life start fading into the fog, right? And they just laughing with me. And it was the most peace I'd ever felt. I was just sitting there. I was like, man, I didn't do a good job. What a life. And they were just making fun of me for, busting up my car. They all faded, though, and eventually you hear the crickets and the fog and all that, and the two men just turned around and left. And they never said anything to me. I constantly was trying to talk to them, and that was that. They just walked off in the fog and left. And then I got in the car, turned on the engine, started driving, and I woke up. It was the most vivid dream I've ever had, and up until about 2 months ago, I did not understand this, so I'm going to pass this along to you. Took me 5 years to realize that the old man in that dream was the Father and the Son, and they weren't talking to me because I didn't talk to them. If you are not talking to your God and opening up the possibility, if you are so rigidly, God isn't real, hell isn't real, heaven isn't real, you're going to burn in hell for eternity. That's the only thing he cannot tolerate, is you saying, I know better, I am intentionally severing myself from you. That will do it in a nutshell. And I hope that you guys get the sense of urgency. It's pretty late here, and I'm still up recording this because I feel something's big is coming. I don't know. Something tells me that this message really needs to get out there, and maybe if any of this resonates, somebody out there will think about what I'm saying and go on their own little rabbit hole journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know you guys might be thinking, what's the direction of this channel? I don't know. I'm still doing a lot of coaching. If you guys want to go to WillieP.gg, I've still been coaching quite a bit. But I don't know, man. I'm really at a point where I need to get my life together quickly, and I'm really trying to get into creativity. I started another job, and I'm really happy with that, but I don't know. I'm on a huge spiritual journey, so I don't know what it holds for now, but I'm just going to keep learning. I'm going to keep listening, and I am begging you guys, hell is real. Please don't undersell yourself. This is the biggest, most important video I have ever made, ever, period. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and let's get that little outro video again. Bye.
I don't know who lolWillieP is, so I think Trick2GS will be doing something right, because, I know who he is.